Coach? I guess, which going to Florida, how how you gonna line things up on the mound this weekend?
Yeah, we Tuesday night's lineup was exciting for us. That's kind of how we envisioned going into the season, and got to play with it a little bit. First couple of weekends was excited, and then some pieces out. Foster a little bit, but he's been back. Bobby Pierce DH'd against Georgia, and then he got to get back in the outfield Tuesday. Same with Cooper McMurray. He had a couple of pinch hits that were huge for us in the Georgia series, but getting him back at first base, I just like our lineup. I think we do Foster lead off, and Pierce 1 and 2 there, and then some guys have just done a nice job for us. Bryson Ware's having an amazing year. I think he's one of the best players in the country, one of the good stories right now so far this first half. Ike Irish is another story. Kirby is a threatening hitter for us and has put up some numbers to prove that. And you guys know what I think of, like a case in Howell. If Howell and McMurray are near the end of that lineup, it's pretty exciting. And then you get catcher and second base, because you want to be strong defensively up the middle. I don't think the game will ever change enough not to put a premium on that. We like the lineup, number one. Pitching wise, there's enough body of work. There is, thinking of our pitching, this will be a weekend where we want to try something different with that body of work against a great ball club on the road, and this is our second chance to do that. As we started walking through this thing, I'm feeling like we're just now getting to our best lineup, and now can we create our best setup, and that includes the pitching staff. So that's the goal. That's what we're shooting for. Looking back to the beginning of last year, we're one of 5 SEC teams that have won 60-plus ball games, and I want us to act like it. I'm not sure, with more than half of our players being new, that we walked into Arkansas feeling like we were one of those 5 in our league that have won 60-plus games since the start of last season. That's us. That's a Tennessee. That's a Florida. That's an Arkansas. One more. Who's that? LSU. So I want our program to act like that, whether you win a game or not. It's part of the process of how we're supposed to carry ourselves. In saying that, the rotation this week, you just look who has thrown the best the first 2 weeks of SEC play at game time, or where the competitive moment could come at different times. So we're going to start Will Cannon. Game 1, he threw 5 innings against Arkansas, threw 3 1/3 against Georgia in the extra inning. Huge win for us, game 1 of the Georgia series. So he'll get to start Friday. John Armstrong, who we've used a ton. I think somehow he's fallen into a 5-0 record. But he'll get the second start. And Vale, who started the first 2 Friday games, or game 1s, will move to the 3rd spot and go Sunday for us. Now, it makes the back end, every part of the game, the pinch point. You never know where the pressure point, the competitive moment comes in the ball game. So I still think Tanner Bauman is huge. He's started, he's thrown in relief, etc. He's a huge piece. Chase Alsop is starting to come on. We feel good about Chase Alsop. Christian Herberholtz is another piece. So we've named 2 new starters and name our 3 starters. There's 3 guys behind that, which creates 6, and then I think Chase Isbell is huge to being able to finish games, which he's shown the ability to do. So this setup, can this make us even more competitive from taking this body of work and re-energizing our group? Can that help us get off to a better start offensively, even though we're changing some things with our pitching staff? Maybe. That's the goal. That's what we believe and think. So excited to get what we think is our best lineup back, and now we're trying to couple that with our best setup going into a tough environment. Look forward to seeing Florida's new ballpark. It was, I think, 18's the last time our program's been down there for the Super Regional. So I can't wait to get down there and compete against a great ball club with our lineup intact and a new setup on the mound.
What kind of decision making, besides who's pitched well in the SEC, went into starting Cannon?
Yeah. I just like the three pitch. Sunday I watched every game. I just floated around, watched all the SEC games, and I just started thinking about, how, as the leader of the program, the head coach, whatever you want to call me, what impact can I make because I don't throw a ball or hit a ball or catch a ball? What positive impact can I have on our ball club? And coming out of Arkansas, I want to see us act like the program that so many players that have played and all these fans getting up in behind, that we shouldn't be talking about sellouts anymore. We should be talking about now the next level of where our fans make an impact. And with all these things coming on board, the Frank Thomas statue, facilities, all this stuff, we need a team to, even though there's a lot of new pieces, to understand what that means and to carry themselves. I think that's the first step, maybe before you win, is how you carry and believe in yourself. So the changeup for Cannon, really having three pitches, and then just being successful at game time. I think it's exciting. Now, you move like a Zach Crotchfeld, a freshman, to the bullpen. Well, can he go get a 95, 96 bullet for one inning? Maybe that even makes us better. This is less about demotion. This is finding a place for all your pieces to shuffle around, and there's a plan for him to have an impact on this series too. I think you can tell I'm thinking about 7 guys, but then when you move Crotchfeld, now you got, also, he'd probably go get 99 in this scenario, and Crotchfeld can go be left-handed, and you got to do more than throw hard. You're going to have to be able to pitch a little bit, but maybe the shorter outings equals more success, and now we're buying innings. You can tell all the way back from Indiana to Southern Cal to absolutely last weekend, there's one more little bridge. We need to get more than 2 2/3 out of a starter. We need some of these middle guys to go run 3 and 4 instead of another 2 innings. I think that would cover up everything we've been chasing here with this new pitching staff, and that's our next step. So it's a little bit of that. Maybe they can get us more into a game. We will probably, from a coaching decision standpoint, another layer of it is to let Will really work through some stuff. We forced Vail to work through some stuff for the first time you saw against Georgia, where he gave up the 3 runs, but I told him we need another 30 pitches out of him. That worked out. So we're going to have to do that a little bit, but these guys have been used, and it's halfway through the season, so we still got that 2 or 3 innings a weekend that we got to cover. And so hopefully this setup will allow us to do that, and hopefully a starting pitcher for us this weekend knows that, hey, just when you encounter challenges like most do, we're asking you to steady yourself, reset, and keep pushing. And so we'll see what that does, but we're not going to do the same thing over and over. We're going to keep trying to find pieces and strategies to make it work. There is not a bona fide starter setting there that doesn't allow us to do this if we think this is the best. There's not a Gonzalez, a Casey Mize, a Keegan Thompson, a Tanner Burns that's just a pillar piece setting in there. Hopefully we're going to give some guys, same guys are going to be impactful to the weekend. We're just putting them in different orders to see if we can get a more favorable result.
What's the biggest adjustment for John Armstrong? I think all 30 of his appearances have been out of the bullpen so far, and making that transition to a starter.
Yeah. I just, to me, it's just one inning at a time. And the reason why he draws the start is, you always look and you're like, who is the most competitive percentage-wise of being able to get lefties out? And if you start, it doesn't take long to look at this Florida lineup with Ohtani, a.k.a. Caglione, sitting there left-handed, and some of their left-handed hitters, and you go like, all right, what Auburn pitcher is the most competitive against left-handed SEC hitters and batters in a lineup? And you would think it would be some lefty, and when actually it's the lower slot right-hander in Armstrong. So that's amazing, but that's one of the reasons why he draws it, and the resilience. And this young man has, he's pitched in a regional, and a super regional, and a College World Series game, and he's pitched on the road in our league, and the combining of the ability to potentially be the most competitive against left-handed batters, plus his experience. I think Case and Howell sitting in center field, Bobby Pierce sitting in left field, and Nate LaRue sitting behind the plate. And I think that's who those guys want on the mound, is who has that experience. And when we start talking about the guys that have done the best against certain types of hitters, I think they want to see it. And so I think now is a great time to do it. So.
Is there the potential for Gators to play some catcher this weekend, and how are his skills defensively? We haven't really seen that a whole lot. So
Yeah, I thought he did a nice job. You know, he had a plate. The plate was obstruction, was not, no way, shape, form, or fashion. I think I'll stop there. He can receive the ball. Recruit him as a catcher. Sow his future. We're committed to that. Now, I don't think the alarm bell's ringing for that to be part of our deal. We're practicing every day. He'll get some more individual defense today. He's bouncing around, ready to hit. I think you'll see more of a LaRue right, if not both, this weekend. But our job is also to be committed to this development, committed to the long term, but we're in the microscope right now. And I think Ike totally understands that. I was so excited to get him out. So in his first 23, 24 games, we got him hitting every day. We got him at first base and got him growing, didn't even know what he could do there. And now we've got him behind the plate, but we're not here to force anything. We're here to be in the microscope and what's our best team to put on the field right now. We are way past spring training, and we're sitting here with 2 months and 8 SEC weekends to what's our best combination. So we got all fall to develop. We got some preseason early stuff to develop. This should be us getting to our point, and I wish we were there a couple of weeks early, but I think we're here now, and what's our best team? So I think it's unlikely, but you're always one thumb away from a catcher or something like that, or creating it. And then in 2 weeks from now, if that's our best lineup, we absolutely will put Ike back there with no reservations. And that's why it was good to see that on Saturday. That was a positive. But in this short-term, immediate window, I don't see that that's something we're trying to force and make sure he catches a certain amount of innings going into this weekend.
with Drew Nelson pitching so much, will he be available at all this weekend?
Yeah, but I think it's day 3, and I think it's 1 or 2 innings. He threw 93 pitches. That would be a bullpen day. I think we would just delay the bullpen. We'll probably, today and tomorrow morning will be a day when we have to finalize that 27-man roster. If he is rebounding properly, I think we would try to use him for an inning or 2. I still think he could be next Tuesday's starter, but it might rain. So we're going to think about this series and see if he can help us an inning or 2 on Sunday to give us another lefty and a guy with a little confidence, a guy that got on a good little autopilot roll on Tuesday. So, and look, the biggest thing that Drew Nelson's already done for us this week is he kept us from having to grind some pieces behind him. So he did an amazing job. When we go out there in a midweek, once you get to this stage and you're playing conference games, and a true freshman like that that's hung in there and getting better each start and helped us in Montgomery, what he did for us might wind up being something positive for this weekend, keeping Arms from having to turn around and compete on a Tuesday night. Him taking all that by himself. I hope there's some benefit that we all can call up at the end of this weekend and say, Drew Nelson helped us be fresher for this series. So I think he's already done something, and we're going to at least have him ready to help us for an inning or 2 of relief on Sunday. Again, could be another piece of this puzzle of us putting together complete competitive series on the mound. That's what we're pursuing and chasing, and that might be another element or piece. And if he don't get in there, he'll probably throw a few pitches to serve as a bullpen and get ready to go on Tuesday. But we're just kind of locked into this series now and see what happens.
The challenge of facing Florida on the mound and at the plate is a really talented team.
Yep. Yeah, it is. And that's why we mentioned the 1 of 5 teams since the beginning of last year. Is we're still hunting for a signature thing where people would, not really outsiders, say we belong. Could care less. It's our group and our circle to know they belong. I do think they need a signature for them. And whether we get the result or not that we want, the process of how we act and carry ourselves and getting into the ball game and play another series is what I'm really intentional about evaluating and watching. So there can be some improvements there, and there should be, and I think there will be. But I don't want all these new players to sell our program short or sell their own skill short. I don't want them to do anything the rest of their lives, whatever their hands find to do, and not possess confidence. We built last year's team off of the two concepts of self-confidence and no excuses. And we continue to try to wave those flags, but we can't just talk about it. We have to absolutely live it and present ourselves that way. That's what I'm looking for out of our guys.